In this video, I'll walk you through the start to finish process that I used for creating channel settings for square-shaped stones. I find channel settings to be one of the most frustrating settings I've ever come across while wire wrapping. However, the finished result is incredibly satisfying, especially when working with a design that uses more linear or geometric patterns. Before hitting our wires, I want to take a minute to sketch out exactly how each step of this process works. The silver that I'm using in this video is quite small, so I thought using a pen and paper would help make things a little bit easier to understand what you'll be seeing as I do it with the wire. There are two main weaves that make up this setting. If we're looking at it from the top down, it should look something like this, with two sections of square wire sitting parallel on top of each other. Between them, we're going to create a weave that looks something like this. This open section in the middle is where the pointy part of your stone, the culet, will actually sit down into the weave. This will help secure the stone from the bottom as well as the stone setting wires that will be sitting parallel over the top of this woven section. Looking at the back of our setting, you can see the woven wires here are similar in shape to our sawtooth pattern I've drawn here. I want to adjust the viewpoint of our sketch to looking down the barrel of the settings so that we have our four square wires that make up this weave. Our sawtooth pattern will be done between these two wires. These two on top will remain naked, just sitting over the top of the stones. In between each stone setting, this is how the pattern looks. Starting from our bottom, we're going to cross straight up and around the outside edge of our top left. We're then going to cross between these two and then do the same pattern, going straight up and then back through to our starting position. The way that these wires are tied in causes them to pull in towards the center of the weave, helping to secure those stones into place. They're also pulled straight down on top of where our stone will be placed. Hopefully these sketches make it slightly easier to envision what is happening with the wire, since this is quite small. Before we dive into the wires for today, though, a quick word from today's sponsor. I'm recording this on October 17th, the birthday of one of my favorite authors, Robert Jordan. Discovering his Wheel of Time series at my library at a young age set my feet on a path that still influences who I am as an artist today. The narrators on Audible for the Wheel of Time, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding's voices, have become so iconic to the series that I even hear them while reading the pages myself. Jordan's world is so rich, and if you've never experienced it, Audible is the perfect place to start. Right now you can listen for free for 30 days using the link on your screen. If you want my recommendation, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan is the first book of the Wheel of Time series, and it is a masterpiece. Even if fantasy isn't your thing, Audible has titles for everyone. They have books, podcasts, comedy, theatrical performances, and so much more. You can try Audible for free right now for 30 days at audibletrial.com/Raftark. In the interest of full disclosure, Audible does give me a financial kickback for every free trial signed up for using this link. As of recording this, I've logged 5 months, 11 days 6 hours and 26 minutes of listening time on Audible in the years that I've been using it. I can say without reservation, this is a tool I absolutely love for keeping my creativity inspired. You can help support the channel for free by starting an Audible membership using the link on your screen or in the description of this video. For this project, I've selected some 4mm square faceted garnets. For our wires, I have 4 6-inch segments of 21 gauge square and 3 feet of 28 gauge round. My square wire is in half hard and my round is dead soft. I'm going to begin our setting by wrapping the base of one of my squares with my round wire to secure it into place. Next, I'll take my remaining 3 squares and coil all of these together 5 times. Once I have those 5 coils in place, I can go ahead and flatten my 28 gauge to ensure that my squares sit parallel to each other in the setting. Taking my middle 2 square wires, I'm going to bend them 90 degrees away from the surface of our setting. Next, I'm going to bend them each 90 degrees out to either side. Lastly, I'll bend them 90 degrees again to run parallel to our top setting wires. I'm going to take my 28 gauge and drop it around to my wires on the bottom. I'm going to flip my whole structure so I can begin to weave between just the bottom 2 squares. For this pattern, I'm going to coil 5 times around my leftmost square before crossing over to the opposite side. Once I have those coils in place, I'm going to cross over in a figure 8 pattern between just these bottom 2 wires, coming over the top of my leftmost wire here and underneath on the rightmost wire here. From here, I'm going to do 5 coils around before returning to our starting position. With my 5 coils in place, I'm going to cross back over to the opposite side. From here, I'm going to repeat the pattern once more. 5 coils around, crossing over in a figure 8, 5 coils around the other side. With our weave complete, ready to start connecting the top wires back in to secure the stone. I'm going to begin by sliding my stone into place between the top and bottom sections of wire. The pointy side of the stone I have facing towards the woven side, and the flat side towards my top two wires. To begin our setting, we're going to take our 28 gauge from my bottom rightmost to my top leftmost, going around the outside edge of that wire, and then crossing in another figure eight between the two leftmost wires. From here, we'll cross over again from my bottom leftmost straight up to the top rightmost. From here, cross between and back to our starting position. Before we move forward, we can go back and adjust to ensure that our first square is sitting straight inside of our weave. With our first stone set, we're going to go back to our figure eight pattern. Coiling 5 times around before crossing over to our other side. I've repeated the pattern twice, and we're ready to go ahead and set our next stone. We're going to slide this stone in between our two sections of wire before beginning our weave to connect the top wires back into place. Starting here on the bottom left, I'm going to go all the way up over the top of my top right, and then cross between the right on the top and the right on the bottom. Next, all the way across to the top left, and then cross between to our starting position once again. I went ahead and set a third stone and wove the setting for the fourth stone. This will be the last stone in our setting, and we'll return our bottom two wires back to parallel on the top. First, we're going to go ahead and slide our stone into its position. Ensuring that it sits nice and neat as close to this last tie-in as I can. Next, we're going to take both of our square wires from the bottom here and bend them straight through to the surface of the piece. Once parallel, I'm going to put another 90-degree kink so that it'll sit flush with our square wire here. I'm going to repeat the same process with our second wire. So that all four wires are once again sitting parallel to each other on the surface. From here I can take all of my 28 gauge and begin coiling around our squares. By ensuring that these squares sit parallel to each other inside this coil, it will eliminate as much movement in the setting wires as possible, providing a secure setting for these stones. I went ahead and coiled some more of my 28 gauge around these four squares just to move it out of the way. There's one more step that we can use to ensure our stones are neat and secure. Going down both sides of our wire, I can pinch each of our connecting points just to flatten our 28 gauge to these setting wires, securing our stones in place. And here we have our finished setting. A special thank you goes out to all the names on your screen for supporting this channel through Patreon. What I'm doing would not be possible without your support. If you're interested in helping support the channel, follow the link in the description below this video. If you found this video helpful, leave me a like on the video. It helps me a lot with the visibility of my videos in YouTube's algorithms. To be the first to know when I upload new content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when new videos are available. Thank you for watching, and happy rapping.